What is going on, everyone? Welcome to Victory Tuesday. Now, it feels it feels weird to say Victory Tuesday since the game was played last Thursday. It feels like a lifetime ago, as I was kind of writing notes on the game not last night, on Sunday night. As I was writing notes on the game, I was like, man, what is felt like a lifetime ago then, and now here we are, almost 2 days later. How are we all doing? It's a beautiful week this week in Green Bay. Back in the 80s, had to kick the AC back on after we had the kind of false fall going on there. But yeah, super stoked to be here. Super stoked to hang out, talk some Packers football. Let's see who's all checking in. Before I do anything, let's get this banner going. All right, we have the Tullys. Feels great to be 2-0. Keep the gas pedal all the way to the floor. Amen, man. We got Christy checking in from Canada. 2-0. Let's go. Swag Coda. Yo, yo, yo. Raise your hand if your team's number one in the division. That's me. That's me. I hope you guys all raised your hand as well. Corey checking in from New Ulm, Minnesota. Good to see you, Corey. Tully, what's up? Kirby, here we go. Are you Dak Prescott tonight, Kirby? Here we go. Rowdy Preston, good to see you, man. Happy Tuesday. Ben, what's up? Fellow Ben, how you doing, man? Joe says, you and Ramage on at the same time. How am I supposed to choose who to watch? Should I stream Ramages right behind me and then we can all win? We can all have the views. Steve, good to see you, man. Hola. Ron, good to see you, sir. Missed you last week. Yeah, phenomenal week. Phenomenal weekend of football all around. Before we do anything too crazy, here is that giveaway link. If you're new here, if you've never been here before, if you've never entered this, if you've never watched this, first off, welcome if it's your first time. I do a giveaway each episode thanks to my friends over at Nicolet Law. Fill out that form. I'm going to post it numerous times throughout the show. Only fill it out once. Otherwise, I got to go through and try to find duplicates before I post it. So just do me a favor. Only fill it out one time, no matter how many times I post it. If you do have some issues with the link, I know we've had a couple people have issues with the link over the past couple weeks. Just let me know, and I can manually add you at the end of the show if we, for whatever reason, if you can't get added. Yeah, there's a lot to talk about. Like I said, I did this on Sunday, so usually I try to do this like Sunday nights after the game. However, the Packers played on Thursday, so the emotion wasn't as fresh to it. There was, I don't know, I had to kind of like think about the game a little bit more, so I might not be as in depth as maybe I usually am. But Packers win the game 27-18. I will say, I know that final score kind of looks close. It didn't really feel that close. I by no means was stressed towards the end. It really felt like the Packers, their defense was just so lights out. And really, what a great feeling to start 2-0. I know prior to the season, I was like, man, by the time we play Cleveland, you could already be looking at like, how do we save the season by being 0-2? And rather than that, we've played two good opponents, came out and held them to some pretty great yardage on the, from their offensive side. And we got commanding wins, no pun intended here. Offense looked good. Jordan finished the game 19 of 31 for 292 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and a 113.9 passer rating. Romeo and Tucker caught the 2 touchdowns. Tucker Kraft, have yourself a day, man. I feel like he was just making play after play after play. 6 catches, 124 yards, 1 touchdown, and a long of a 57-yard completion. We obviously had some downside to the offense there as far as Jaden Reed breaking his collarbone. Not ideal by any means. He is an explosive playmaker for the team. But if I am finding a silver lining in a very bad situation, it's the fact that he was able to get surgery on his foot as well, with his collarbone injury. I know that was something, as we're talking about kind of coming into the season, that his injury, because he didn't get surgery on it, was something that was going to be lingering for quite some time and something he would probably deal with throughout the entirety of the season. So while it's very difficult to lose Jaden for, I don't know, 6 to 8 weeks, depending on, I think that it could have that silver lining in that final stretch of the season where you really want that explosive playmaker. Not that you don't want him now. Of course you want him now. You need to win every game you possibly can, but when I saw him immediately grab his collarbone area, I was like, "Yep, that's a broken collarbone." I've broken my collarbone 3 times, so I feel like I'm a good expert in the matter. But no, unfortunately, it was a broken collarbone for him. Hopefully, he can bounce back quick. I know they're kind of annoying depending on how you break them as well. We saw Rogers break his in 13, and I think he was at no, it was 17 where he had to get the metal plate put into his collarbone. So collarbones are just not a fun injury. I remember when from breaking mine, it kind of stinks because you're wearing the sling to hold your arm still. That's about all you can do. And every time you like cough, every time you kind of like rustle around, it hurts. So it's just not a fun injury. Jaden's a stronger man than I am, so I trust he'll bounce back extra fast. Let's take a look at some comments here. See who I'm missing. Alfonso, go Pack Go. Good to see you, man. Brian, good to see you. Thanks for checking in from Reynoldsville, Pennsylvania. Billy, good to see you, man. Go Pack Go. Trash touchdown. Yeah, I mean, it really. I don't know that the Packers were just giving up or playing light. I think the Commanders probably earned that one, but it's nice to see some I don't know, just some touchdowns where you're like, it's like fine. It is what it is. 9 straight games without a turnover for Love. That's a great thing to see. I hope we can keep that up. Chris says, great game. Go Pack Go from Rush City. Tucker Craft the Tank. Tucker's really coming into his own. He's looking like the total package at a tight end. I love the way the guy plays. I'm happy he's on my team. You know, he kind of feels like we've seen so many teams over the years get those sleeper tight ends, the George Kittles, some of these other guys where you don't think that they're going to really amount to a ton in the league, and then they just like set the league on fire. So hopefully Tucker's that for us because I would love to see it. Steve says, I hope this Cleveland game isn't a trap game. We're going to talk about the Cleveland game a little bit. I will say they're 0-2 right now, but their stats do not look that bad. I I don't know. We're gonna see what happens. Kirby, everyone's talking about trap games. I don't know. Everyone's, is there? I don't know that there really is such thing as trap games in the NFL. Everyone is a pro level team. Everyone's playing with a salary cap. Everyone's playing with the best roster they possibly can put together. Now there's injuries and stuff like that that can handle, make things happen. But I don't know. We will see. Harry says, "Go, you Packers, go! Go Pack, go, Harry." That was kind of let's save this for burning hot questions here. But that was one of my things. I'm gonna kind of jump in here as I'm talking about some of the things to go on. But from a defensive perspective, the defense held Jaden Daniels and company to just 18 points, which is tied for their fewest in any of Jaden Daniels' starts, including postseason. They also held them to fewest yards, fewest rushing yards, and fewest first downs in during that stretch as well. And that is per my guy, Wes Hodkowitz. Obviously, it's still very, very early, but this defense feels very special. There's going to be those games, right, where it's going to be frustrating. You're going to see offenses be able to drive on this defense. You're going to see points be put up that you're going to be like, what happened to our defense? That's inevitable throughout this season. I don't know, when you think all over the entirety of the NFL, there have been a handful of incredibly good defenses. You think about the 85 Bears, and they still allowed the Dolphins to drive on them and score a bunch of points, win a game. The 96 Packers had the number one rated defense, probably not as special as the 85 Bears, right? But they still, I think they went 13-3 that year, even with the number one offense, number one defense, and number one special teams. So there is going to come a time this season where the defense maybe looks off and things go awry. But right now, this defense feels special. They are generating so many pressures in a game. And as you're kind of looking at Cleveland, I would imagine the defensive line is licking their chops a bit, that they're playing Joe Flacco and not Jaden Daniels again. Jaden, if not for his athletic ability, probably would have been sacked, I don't know, at least another 3 or 4 times. I feel like that defense was really swarming him, really making him uncomfortable all night. And I'm really excited to see what we do as we continue down the season, and if we can continue to bully offensive lines, and really, as Micah's snaps keep growing as well, how much that's going to potentially, I don't know, how much that's going to shape things, and if we're going to see those pressures maybe tamper out a bit because Micah's not going to be as fresh throughout the game, or conversely, if we're going to see things really amp up because now we're seeing Rashawn and Micah going full blast the entire game with LVN sprinkled throughout, or Micah sprinkled in the middle of the line with LVN on the outside. There's a lot of good possibilities there. Part of me also wonders if we're having such success early because there's no film on Micah Parsons in this defense and what we were going to do with him. I don't know if that changes, if there is a way to defend it. You'd think after week 1, the Commanders would have been able to put something together for week 2, but maybe there's not enough film yet. They're Halfley's doing his different disguises and really doing a lot of great work. Once again, we need to continue to spread rumors about Halfley to the other 31 teams so no one gets any ideas about hiring him. I heard him, went to Chipotle. He made a scene. They didn't put enough black beans on his burrito. They handed it to him. He slapped it out of their hands. So if you talk to any one of the other 31 teams, just tell them a story. We're all making up stories about Jeff Halfley so he doesn't go anywhere. Just, put your own twist on it. Maybe he, made a child cry by cutting in front of them and buying the last ice cream bar at a ice cream truck or something like that. I don't know. We don't want to slander him too much, but just the right amount. So the other 31 teams are like, maybe this isn't the guy. Jaden finished the day 24 of 42, 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. We talked about one of them was later in the game where it felt like the game was pretty much put away. I still don't think the Packers were giving them a gimme by any means, but they started running some up tempo, and that really seemed to do the trick. Now, are we going to see that from Cleveland? Are they going to run up tempo right away and hopefully catch the Packers on their heels? Maybe. We'll see what happens. I would imagine the Commanders doing that maybe puts a little bit of okay, we need to prep for this in practice, so we'll see. Jaden was sacked 4 times. He scrambled 7 times, only gaining 17 yards, which is kudos to this Packers defense for keeping them in check throughout that. There's no turnovers on either side of the ball. Both played a pretty clean ball game in that regard. Before I kind of talk about some of the other things that we talked, whatever we witnessed, let's check out these comments here. Ty, good to see you, man. Total domination. Billy says he wants to be 4-0 going into the bye week. That would be the dream, wouldn't it? I'm all for that. Lions steamrolled the Bears. Yeah, I'm sure we could talk about that a little bit. James says, let's hope we get that lucky 4-0 before the bye week. I'm with you. Kirby says, I say they lose now and get it out of the way. A perfect season's pretty impossible to get. I would much rather lose to maybe someone down the way and go like 13-1 or something like that. But Kirby says Halfley kicked my dog. It's true, I saw it. If I were one of those other 31 teams, I wouldn't even consider hiring him. Hey, Raymundo, good to see you, my friend. Checking in from California. Blessings to you all. Hope you had a good, been good, Ben. Yeah, I'm. Other than my poor reading ability, I'm doing well, man. I hope the same goes for you. Um, I'm kind of getting over my cold, which is a win. I still have a little bit of congestion, but all in all, not bad. Halfley doesn't put the shopping cart back. It's true. I saw it, and I saw he took it from a single mom too, who was trying to load her kids in, and he just swiped it from her. So not a good look. Um, Tiffany says it's time for your smelling salts. Will that help me read a little bit better, Tiffany? I don't know. Good to see you. Whoa, 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 Rowdy. Now we're just getting too personal. Rowdy says Jeff Halfley eats pineapple on his pizza. I eat pineapple on my pizza every once in a while. What do you got to say? Huh? Huh? Trying to get me excluded from all 31 teams? You get some new swag from Larry. No, I actually I hope they don't mind. I got this made myself because I wanted a nice hoodie so I could rock it. And so I got this made myself. I did. I'll talk about it a little bit, but what better time than now? I did get to go to one of their other locations yesterday, which was really cool. It's a much bigger location than the Green Bay one. Super cool. They had a lot of merchandise. I tried buying a shirt while I was there, but they didn't have the size that I need, which is a bummer. So hopefully I can get one of those next time I'm in, because I'll take all the Legendaries merch I can get. That's for sure. Christy said, I heard he likes to smell the players' cleats after the game. Wow. Oh, wow. We're throwing the you bum in there. Ty says, Jeff Halfley cuts his butter the long way, you bum. Makes me think of that, what is it, that heckling baseball guy. Halfley doesn't cut his sandwiches diagonally. I like these. I think we should just start running with these. I saw they're doing it on Reddit, so it's by no means a my thing, but it's good stuff. See, I got good company here, Rowdy. We got Billy, who eats pineapple on pizza, and a fellow Ben who eats pineapple on pizza. I'm in good company. All right, let's get back to it here. Despite all the good things we saw on Thursday, we're still not there yet. There's still work to do, right? We saw two potential touchdown passes to Golden. Both just were a bit off. That first drive, Love just underdid it a little bit. Once again, kind of maybe because we missed on it, that I'm gonna vent a little bit, but that frustrating thing of being like a 4th and 5, a 4th and 4, 3rd and 4, and then we just try to do the home run ball. We saw Rodgers do that a lot, and maybe it's because the defense they're not expecting it. Had Love not thrown it late, that's an easy touchdown by Golden. That throw was not Love's best one by any means. Now that other drive where that's probably a 94-yard touchdown to Golden, if Golden was maybe like 2 inches, longer arm. I don't think it was like a terrible ball by Love by any means. There's 2 defenders there, put him right over the top, and it was just a hair out of his reach. We ended up scoring on that drive. The first drive, we ended up not converting that 4th down because it was short to Golden. So we lost a couple there, right? McManus missing the field goal just before halftime. Anytime you leave points on the board is a really frustrating thing. We're seeing that second half stall. We saw that last year. It doesn't feel as blatant as last year. It feels like it's more of just a hiccup this round. But you'd love to see them just put together a good solid 4 quarters and really keep building off that momentum. It feels like we're almost there. Last year it did not feel like it was there. Last year it felt more like you had one good half of football and that was it. Even now when we have that slump, that third quarter slump, it doesn't feel like it's a full quarter of a slump or a full half of a slump. It just feels like maybe it takes a little bit more to get going this round. But and then penalties, still taking points off the board. The one to Jaden that broke his collarbone, that holding call by Belton there. anytime you see those penalties, taking points off the board or stopping first downs or doing anything like that, that's always a frustrating thing. So just some things to clean up. It's not overly, overly sloppy by any means. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, every single time we have something going, it's a big, big flag or anything like that. So uh and really one thing, we talked last week and I said Keyshawn had a terrible game week 1, allowing like everything thrown his way to be completed. I don't know if that got back to homie or what, but Keyshawn did not let anything go by. I feel like he was breaking up every single pass that was in his area code. He's probably still breaking up passes. I mean, really, he had a phenomenal game. And if he is watching, I want to say that it's a fluke, and you're not going to do it again, Keyshawn. So why don't you go out there and prove me wrong every single week the rest of this year? All right, let's check in on these comments. We're gonna drop this giveaway link again. Once again, if you've already submitted your entry, do not do it a second time. Otherwise, you got to go through, make sure there's no duplicates. If you haven't submitted it yet, go there, fill it out, submit it. That way we can get you entered for the giveaway. You do not need to be here to throughout the entire show to win. You just need to be here when I announce the winner because you need to select what your prize is and all that fun stuff. So just make sure you're checking in periodically. Keep it on in the background, whatever you want to do in that regard. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm with you. I was kind of venting in the group chat with the boys during the game of like, man, every single time it's like you just huck them, chuck them on 4th and 3, 4th and 4, 4th and 5. And I'm guessing it's because the defense is loading the box, so you have more opportunities. But man, that's so frustrating, right? When you're like, we just want to keep the drive going. We don't need to go to a home run ball every single time. But hey, what's going to happen is we're going to hit on it one of these times, and then I'm going to look stupid because I'm always complaining about it. Billy says, I hate that we lost Reed. Man, so do I. I'm just trying to look at the silver lining there that he's going to be able to get his foot healed and hopefully be a strong weapon for us in the postseason when we need him. Raymundo says, I'm calling a touchdown this week for Matthew Golden and Tucker Kraft. Big week for Love. I hope so. Chris says, the Queens fell flat after overhyped McCarthy on game 1. Absolutely hilarious to watch. I will say, I think, it's obviously still very early on McCarthy's career. We saw other quarterbacks who are really good quarterbacks now have really bad starts. Maybe they're anomalies, but Josh Allen had a really rough start to his career. Peyton Manning had a horrible rookie career, or rookie season, excuse me. And I think his career turned out all right. So, I think it's still very early. We'll see what happens. I mean, we're seeing, younger quarterbacks struggling across the NFL. And then once they kind of go to another team, they kind of maybe get a fresh start and figure it out. I've always said that if I were going to do a franchise, if I were in charge of an NFL franchise, if I were the owner, I would draft a quarterback, and then no matter what, I would not let them start for at least one season. Maybe two, depending on how we felt about them. I would say, hey, we're just biting the bullet. No coach is going to get fired. I'm not switching coordinators over or anything on them. I'm just letting them get the NFL coming up to speed to them. If that means I got to eat a couple years of rookie contract, so be it. But it's weird how these teams watch the Packers kind of have this blueprint for how they're producing quarterbacks, and then they just refuse to follow it. Now, it's tough when you don't have a Hall of Fame quarterback, and so fans are getting frustrated with the product on the field. So it is tough. I understand that side of things, but I just think you see so many teams just throwing these young quarterbacks to the wolves constantly. I would load up my offensive line, load up my defensive line, and put whoever back there you want. As long as they got protection, I think you're going to see relatively successful quarterback play. But James says, Halfley took a piece of my daughter's birthday cake. That's true. Happy, I did text your daughter happy birthday. So hope you spoiled her yesterday. Hope it was a good birthday for her. Dude, I would love that as well, Alfonso. Hopefully Parsons let loose 100% of the Cowboys. Tony, good to see you, man. Checking in from Wyowega. Ty says, I was at Lambeau Thursday and it was glorious. I really thought Golden was getting his touchdown number one right in front of us, but Kraft got it on the other side of the end zone. I saw Golden has the highest open or like route win rate right now. So it's only a matter of time, especially with Jaden going down, that I think we're really going to see him open up in this offense. I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing him really kickstart in this offense in the next week or two. It would not surprise me at all. Feel free to start dropping in some questions. We're going to get into some burning hot questions. All my screens went down. I thought we lost you. But feel free to start dropping some questions. Let's get into some burning hot questions. Gotta find the thing, and my mouse is being really stupid, of course. Nailed it. Before we do the segment, I obviously want to say thanks to my friends over at Legendaries for sponsoring the show all season long. You're going to see a picture of it tomorrow if you're keeping an eye on my social medias, but I had the opportunity to meet Larry himself yesterday, which was super cool. I did a little interview for him, which I'll probably be dropping next week, or not for him, with him, that I'll probably be dropping next week. It was a ton of fun getting to meet him. I told him that it was very surreal meeting him. It was kind of like meeting, to me, it's kind of like meeting like Colonel Sanders, right? You know he's a real person, but you're like, no, you're kind of just like this fictional character. But real person, great guy, super awesome. Getting a chance to meet him and his children, some of his grandchildren. So it was a lot of fun. And then their location up there in Sheboygan Falls has chicken sliders, which is the only location that has them. They have a little bit more space there, and by a little bit, I mean a lot more space. So their menu is a little bit more a broader menu. They have salads there as well. But I got to try chicken sliders from them, which they were great as well. I wish they had those at other locations, but it was a good time. But I will say, if you're coming to Green Bay, go check out their limited time peanut butter and jelly wings. If you're like, I'm not going to be there in time for peanut butter and jelly wings, keep an eye out. They're going to be having more specialty flavors throughout the rest of the year. Or if you're just like, hey, I just like wings, I wouldn't recommend anyone else but Legendaries. They did just go to Buffalo, New York, the home of the Buffalo wing, and they won a few trophies there, including one for best hot buffalo sauce, which is my absolute favorite sauce, in their Scary Larry sauce. Don't tell anyone, but I'm going to be doing a giveaway for some of that here soon. So keep an eye out for that. But anyways, shout out to them. I love Legendaries, and I'm super stoked that they're sponsoring me all season long. So, all right, let's get into these here. Let's go back and look at Ben's from earlier. Need to see more out of the offense in the second half. Almost seems like they let their foot off the gas in the second half. What do you think? Great question, Ben. I feel like part of it too is the defense's game plan. You know, they make their halftime adjustments. So I think maybe these guys are coming out of halftime and their defensive adjustments are adjusted more than what the Packers' offensive adjustments are, because the offense is having success in the first half. I think it's hard to make offensive adjustments when you're having success, where it's easier to make defensive adjustments when you're not having success, if that makes sense, right? You know what to tweak for. So then the second half, third quarter feels slow because that chess match of, okay, well, now the defense has shifted for this, and now we need to shift to this kind of thing. But hopefully we don't see that. Hopefully we can kind of start playing that 4D chess that we'd like to see. Chad says, do you think the O-line will be able to hold up against Myles Garrett? So far, the guys coming in off the bench have shown they are up to the task. Great question. I'd like to think so. I mean, you're probably going to let him not let him. You're probably going to see him get a sack at least. You just can't let him take over the game. You really need to do a good job of keeping the Browns honest by trying to commit to the run. What is kind of surprising is the Browns have the number one rushing defense right now, and they've played a couple incredible running backs. They played Derrick Henry last week, if I'm not mistaken. So they've played some good running backs. We'll see. I just hope that you can keep them honest, and hopefully you can find some success in the run game, because we haven't seen a ton of that yet this year. Is it me, or does Dobbs' helmet look like Lord Helmet from the Spaceball? Yeah, those Galaxy caps are wild. They're maybe it helps you find open receiver down the way, right? You just see the big Galaxy cap down the way. Corey says, if we can get a second from Malik Willis, do we owe it to him to give him a chance to get a big contract and to our team to get some capital back, knowing as a free agent after the season anyway? It's a great question, Corey. That's a really big conundrum, right? Would he save your season if Jordan went down for, 4 games? Would he be enough to save your season? Would a second round pick tip that scale to be like, well, we're going to take the risk on it? What I've seen, or what I heard, is that the Bengals offered the Packers like a 6th round pick for him, which the Packers won't do. That doesn't make sense. If you start getting into the territory of a 2nd round pick, I think it starts being one of those things of, okay, that's a great return on the investment. You gave up a 7th round pick for a player to get a 2nd round back that you're going to be losing in free agency anyway. Maybe you take that opportunity to do that. So it would not surprise me if they did that. I don't know if they got offered a 2nd round pick. I don't think we're at that point. I don't think the pot's been that sweet yet. Raymundo says, how about Terrence Crawford saying the Packers are taking this year's Super Bowl? He was at Monday Night Football and the Raiders game. It's our year, Ben. See you in Santa Clara. I hope so. I think it's tough because it's so early yet that so much football is yet to be played. And I try not to have the pendulum swing one way or the other too much for me. I'm super stoked, but I'm just trying to keep my expectations settled a bit for myself. If there are a lot of people who are like, yep, Super Bowl, it's happening, which is cool. Like, if you're hyped up, and I'm just saying, hey, there's a lot of football left. I want to temper my expectations. I will say right now, this team feels like the biggest Super Bowl contender I've felt like in quite some time. That doesn't mean much, come postseason. That doesn't mean anything, until you're in the postseason. So I just, we're going to take it one week at a time here. That's my mentality. 1 week at a time. We're always looking for that next win. Billy says, does Gary have a breakout game? I don't know that he does against Cleveland. It's hard to say. Cleveland hasn't allowed a lot of sacks. We're going to talk about here in a little bit with Cleveland, but he doesn't have a ton, or the Cleveland hasn't given up a ton of sacks. So we'll see. Kirby says, reminds me when you could unlock different stuff on NFL Blitz. I don't know what we're talking about, but the Dobbs helmet. Yeah. Where you could get like the big head on NFL Blitz by you're just like always punching in different things, trying to get codes. My friend Tom and I will do nostalgia days, and we'll play N64. And when we play Blitz, we're just mashing buttons, trying to get whatever we can. It's always a good time. Last time we played, I think I got invisible, which was a nightmare because anytime I had the ball, I was completely invisible. I had no idea where I was. He had no idea where I was. It was, I don't know. It was a mess. Oh, started on these. Christy said, I like the news articles on Facebook today that said Willis said he was offered $20 million, but he said no, and he wanted to stay a Packer. Facebook. I don't have a personal Facebook account. but my actual page itself will show some of these suggested posts. And admittedly, I am so bad with social media in the regard of like I'll post stuff and then I kind of just dip out. I don't check it much throughout the day. I'm really bad at that. Like there's a lot of people who support me in a lot of really great ways, and I feel like I need to be better at kind of doing the same for them. But I don't know. Social media is just frustrating to me because of stuff like that, right? You see that constantly on Facebook, stuff where these AI, these scammers who are getting, social media will pay you. Like Facebook pays me a little bit. It's not a ton, but like Facebook will pay me based off of insights I get, whether it's people liking my stuff, commenting on stuff, sharing stuff, my like reach I get and stuff like that. So I do get a little bit of money from Facebook. Once again, it's not like a ton of money. It's not like it's enough where I would do it just like I could live off that or anything like that. But any money's better than no money. But you see these news articles dropping like that, and odds are they are getting uh, compensation same way. Like Facebook's probably paying them for metrics, and they make these very bad clickbait stories that not only do they get the interaction from people sharing and commenting, and even if people all know it's fake and they're commenting that it's fake, they're still getting interaction, they're still getting traction that gets shown to other people. If I didn't have morals and I didn't care, it'd be so easy to create so much fake clickbait and rage bait and really get like my page to explode in that way. But I also wouldn't be able to sleep at night. So these people are not only getting money from that, odds are, I don't know for sure, but I'm guessing they are. But then they also link people to their website, which one, who knows if there's malicious scripts on their website? I don't know. But two, they're loaded with ads. So then they're getting ad revenue as well from the articles. So those things just don't get me started. Those things just frustrate the hell out of me. And it's such a shame because I've talked to people who reference some of these fake articles without doing any other fact checking. And you have to be like, nope, that's not true. That's 100% made up article. And you just, I don't know. Then you kind of feel like a jerk, but then they feel weird. They like feel bad, like they're not bad, but like they feel kind of like they've been duped, and it's just a bad feeling all around. But I don't know. That's my little social media rant for now. Raymundo says, I believe Cleveland is down 2 starting tackles. Should be a big game for our edge rushers. I hope so. Tony says it supports my legendary habit. Yeah, and it does. And it's not anything like, it's not like terrible. It's not like I'm making, 48 cents a month or anything like that. But it's not it is what it is. Dan says, I can't see all the comments. Will you please share the giveaway link again? Absolutely, Dan. There is that. Feel free to enter there if you have not done so already. If you have, don't enter again. I don't want any duplicates. Then I got to go through and clean it up, and it's a pain for me. So just enter once per person, please. Christy says that's the scary part when people don't realize that it's clickbait. Absolutely. And there's so many people that will, just run with it without really doing their due diligence. And it's a shame. I mean, that's the state of social media, unfortunately, with a lot of things, even outside of social or outside of sports. So that's a topic for not for my show, that's for sure. Jenny says, sorry, missed a lot. I'm at the Brewers game. Jenny, don't be watching me at the Brewers game. I know baseball is boring, but if you're at the Brewers game, have fun. Wado says, Uper Wado checking in. I'm not a bot. So Wade is my former roommate. Good to see you, Wade. And Chad and Dakota are both convinced that Wade is not a real person. And every time, like at the draft, Wade was supposed to meet up with us, and then Wade was just, Wade gets, if you don't know Wade, which none of you probably do, Wade kind of just goes where the wind takes him. He'll be like, oh, I'm on my way. And then you'll be like 30 minutes later, be like, hey man, where are you at? And he's like, I'm on a side quest doing this. And you're just like, okay, cool. Well, now everyone's convinced that Wade's a bot. So now every time Wade comes in, he says he's not a bot, which further furthers the conspiracies. Dakota says, I know Wade exists. Because you've met oh yeah. You rode over with us together in the vehicle. So you know Wade exists. Anyway, that's the anyone have any other questions before I think we're going to move into the giveaway here soon, but just trying to give people time to enter in. So if you have any last second questions, feel free to drop them. I have a cheese curd review that I'm going to be publishing this week, I believe. But outside of that, I don't know that I'm going to be able to go do a review this week. I might not be able to do one again until next week, but hopefully that's not the case. Jenny says, "Is your cold better, Ben?" It's getting there. I'm not 100%, but I've finally been able to sleep. I've finally been able to sleep without like Vicks Vapor Rub or whatever. I can breathe now while I'm trying to sleep, so that's a win. James, I'm not reading that comment out here. Dakota's a bot too, huh? Oh, it's a world of bots. Yeah, there are some people on social media that I would trust 100%. If Matt Ramage is posting it, I'm believing it. Cheesehead TV, of course, if they're posting it, I'm believing it. GBP Daily, my guy over there, Rob, if he's posting it, I'm believing it. And then there's probably others as well, but like if there's a select group of people that aren't doing clickbait and aren't doing that stuff, those are the people I'm going to buy it from for sure. But I'm not going to see, if I see a suggested post, the first thing I'm doing is I'm Googling it to see if any of that stuff's factual. Usually it's pretty easy to identify, right? Andy Herman as well is another one. I don't know if he's on Facebook. He might be, I'm not sure, but he does a really good job as well. Pack a Day is just killer, the content they put out. All right, let's good to see you as well, Sam, by the way. Let's do this giveaway here. See where we're at. Looks like we got a good chunk of responses here, so let's get into this giveaway. All right, before we do, I want to say shout out to my friends over at Nicolet Law, the Midwest personal injury lawyer that whether it's a crash, a slip and fall, or something else that leaves you injured in dealing with insurance and medical bills, Nicolet Law knows how to help. They walk you through your options, handle the insurance companies, and fight for you to get what you deserve. There's no upfront fees, which is huge because if you are injured and out of work, you're probably not going to have a lot of extra money for that. So they fight for you, and you don't pay anything unless you win. So they're just a local attorney who shows up when it counts. You can reach them at 1-855-NICOLET or visit nicoletlaw.com. So thanks to Nicolet for being a sponsor of the show all season long. I really appreciate them so much. All right. Enjoy the game, Jenny. I hope you have a fun time. Hope the Brewers win. I know they're heading into the postseason, I think. I don't follow. I don't know why I even talk about Brewers baseball. I don't watch enough to even know. So what the hell am I doing? All right, let me grab these entries real quick so we can get this giveaway going, and I'll share my screen. Got to kind of look through, make sure we have no double entries because we don't want that. All right, I think everything's looking good. Cool. Get that up and share my screen. Oh, let's not do that. Sorry about that, guys. Got to grab something else here. All right. Cool. All right, should be able to have that. Before I do, I think I got to remove Kirby because he's being rude to me earlier. So there we go. Now we're ready. No. All right. Just kidding, Kirby. You're back on there. Let's not be too upset. Good luck, everyone. Here we go. Luke, you're on the board. Congratulations, man. I know you won a ton during the podcast. You're in there listening every single week, so I appreciate you. Give me a number 1 through 35, please, and up or down. I have a handful of prizes to get out this week in the mail. So I owe Billy one. Trying to think. I don't remember who won the week before, but I owe Billy. Billy got last week, and then I'm going to get Luke's out this week as well. So I got, I think, 3 prizes. So Luke, if you're there, 1 through 35, up or down. Kirby says he has a better chance of winning if he was being removed. That's probably true. That's probably true, Kirby. That's what you get. I'm going to start. I don't have the ability to rig a spinning wheel, but I'm gonna start figuring out how to. That way we can get you out of here for sure. Let's see here. While we're waiting on Luke, we can start talking. Let's get this back here. So thanks Nicolet Law for making the giveaways possible, of course. And if Luke isn't here to claim his prize by the end of the show, I guess we're gonna draw another person. I think we'll find a winner either way. How about that? All right, let's talk about this Packers and Browns. Luke, you got until probably 8:25 if you're not here. 8:25, and then we're gonna draw another one. Sam says, "Am I the runner-up if Luke doesn't respond?" We're gonna spin the wheel again if Luke does not respond. So 8:25. Don't let me miss it if he does, because I'm going to be kind of getting into some Packers, bro. There he is. Look at that. We summoned him. 7 and up. All right. Luke says 7 and up. Someone took number 7 already, so we are at number 8. Good luck to you, Luke. Thanks for all your support. I appreciate you immensely, man. I know you're listening to all the podcasts, either that or you're entering the giveaways and finding the giveaway words or whatever throughout the show. But I doubt you're going through that much effort. So appreciate all the work, all the support you do. Got yourself a Don Mikowski 8x10, which awesome. Love me some Don Mikowski. All right, let's talk about these Brownies. The Packers 2-0 heading into Cleveland to take on the 0-2 Browns. It's a noon game this week, which is going to kind of be nice. If we're being honest, I love primetime games like the 325s and the 725s. 725s are a little bit rougher. I need my sleep. I'm old. It's tough to stay up late. I get amped up and I can't sleep, and my son's up way too early. So I'm stoked for a noon game. Get it done, 3 o'clock. I can enjoy dinner without the anxiety. So last year I did this where I would kind of look at the teams and their breakdowns. I didn't do it so far yet this year because it was so early, and it still is really early. So these stats don't mean a ton. But as far as the breakdown on things, the Packers, from an offensive perspective, they're pretty, I'd say, relatively middle of the pack across the board. As far as the total yards per game, they're ranked 12th. Passing yards per game ranked 12th. Rushing yards per game, averaging 106.5 yards, which is good for 18th. Points per game, they're good for 6th. So points per game is the only thing top 10. Everything else is 12th or 18th. Browns, kind of in a similar position, except for one. Their yards per game, 16th. Passing yards per game, 10th. Rushing yards per game is 26th in the league with 82 yards per game. And then their points per game is 27th. They're ranked 27th, averaging 16.5 points per game. So it's interesting to me that their rushing offense and passing offense, both top half of the league, but they can't put points on the board, and their rushing is not there as well. So I haven't watched the Browns at all. I don't know their story. I don't know if they're having costly turnovers. I don't know if it's garbage time that we're seeing, or I don't know, right? Maybe we're seeing them in garbage time because I know the Ravens really wiped the floor with them. So maybe they had put up a lot of yards, just the Ravens letting them drive the field, and then they tightened up when they needed it to. I'm not sure. Defensively, here's where it kind of gets interesting to me. Packers defensively, total yards per game, they rank third in the NFL. Passing yards per game, they're 10th. These are yardages allowed, of course. Defense rushing yards per game allowed, they are second. So Packers right now are second in the NFL, allowing an average of 48.5 yards per game, which is insane. Points allowed, they are fourth in the NFL, allowing 15.5. Right now, the Packers have a +1 turnover differential. They had an interception against the Lions, and they have not had any turnovers themselves. The Brownies, their defense is very interesting to me. Total yards per game allowed, they rank first in the NFL. Passing yards allowed per game, they rank third in the NFL. Rushing yards per game allowed, they are first in the NFL. But points allowed, they are 26th in the NFL. I have zero idea how that happens. They have a -4 turnover differential. So they haven't generated any turnovers, but they've given up 4 turnovers. Once again, I have not watched a single Browns snap, but I don't know how you can be top 3 in all defensive measurements. Excuse me. I mean, like, I don't know. I really, I guess, top 3 in the defensive measurements as far as yardage. But how are you allowing 29 points? I don't know. I don't know. So interesting. It'll be interesting to see what happens. But I was really surprised when I was looking at that and seeing their defense play that lights out. All right, let's get some comments here. Hey, easy. He's not a felon just because you get arrested because of a bar fight. All right. Let's be honest. Brett Favre gotten plenty of bar fights while he was in Green Bay. I don't know. I still love the Magic Man. That's my guy. Dan says, how many sacks will the Packers have against the Browns? I don't know enough about the Browns. I know Raymundo said they're without their 2 tackles. If that's the case and Flacco's in there, I think it could get pretty ugly for them. But I don't know. I hope we can just, dominate them up front. Flacco already hearing footsteps and it's only Tuesday. That's if Flacco is even the guy starting. I don't know if they're going to go with their rookie quarterback. Flacco got benched towards the end of that game last week, and they put in their rookie quarterback. Maybe they just said, hey, screw it. We're going to run with him and see what happens. Sam says maybe those 4 turnovers were on their side of the field. Could be. Could also see special teams issues, right? Maybe you're seeing whether it's blocked kicks, missed field goals, stuff like that, shortening the field as well. But it just surprised me because I saw what the scores of that like Ravens Browns game, and I was like, man, their defense must just be letting everyone run. Doesn't seem to be. Rowdy says, I haven't watched any Browns games either, but if their special teams unit is giving up terrible field positions, opposing offenses don't have many yards to go before scoring. That's kind of my thought, is that maybe we're seeing some costly turnovers, some special teams blunders, whether they're allowing long kicks, and maybe there's just, we're only through 2 games this season. So there's not a lot of data to go off of yet. So maybe that's part of it as well. Alfonso is predicting LVN gets 2 sacks. Ooh, we'll see about that. I hope so. LVN's really kind of coming to his own. That's for sure. He's looking good. All right, let's do our story of the week and get out of here. How about that? I always like to do a fun story of the week, something different, right? Whether it's a piece of Packers lore you've heard before, a random story you've heard before, or if you've never heard it, which I don't know that you've heard this one. This is an odd one. I pulled this from the Internet Archive, that's for sure. So if you need another story on how serious the state of Wisconsin is when it comes to Packers football, then I have that story for you. Brought to you by an article I found on Wired Magazine. Really went back on the Internet Archives on this one. During the 1998 season, the Packers started their season 4-0 with a Monday night game against the 4-0 Vikings. That Monday night, the GM plant in Janesville, Wisconsin ran into an issue. Hundreds of their night shift employees either called in sick or just didn't show up for their shift, resulting in a serious decline in production that night. The missing crew at that GM earned the nickname the Packer Slackers, and they had a bye week the following week, and after that bye week, they had a Thursday night game against the Lions, and it was such a big deal that GM had to remind everyone, the GM plant had to remind everyone that, hey, you guys need to be at your shift. And they even reminded them that, hey, you can watch the Packer game during your break at work. So it was a big deal. And I think it's funny. It kind of hit, home to me because I used to work in a factory. I worked in a factory while I was in college. And it was around the time, it was just after the Packers won the Super Bowl. I was working at Phillips Plastics, and it was the opening game of the 2011 season. It was Thursday night football, and I pleaded with my manager. I was like, let me go home early, please. I have some homework to do. I won't be able to finish it in time. It's due tomorrow. Like I'm wrapping up this project, and it's a big deal. And please just let me go home early. And it was slow that night. First off, I should say that. But yeah, she just rolls her eyes like, oh, okay, yeah, and it has nothing to do with the facts that the Packers played tonight. Nothing at all. Well, she let me go home early, and I got to watch that. But so I can relate. I didn't call in. I didn't no call, no show. So maybe I'm not a full Packer slacker, but I get where they're coming from. But yeah, the Packer slackers, Janesville, Wisconsin, GM. There you have it. I don't know. I thought that was a funny story to dig up from the archives. I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. Jenny said Mark Tauscher's here throughout the first pitch. Awesome. Let's see here. I've said it the first 2 weeks. Got to keep it going. Amen, man. Dude. Yeah, I get it, Kirby. We're not superstitious. We are just a little stitious. So I hope you guys all have a great rest of your week. I hope you had a fun episode. Appreciate you all immensely. The 3 people I owe prizes to, I'll be getting them out this week for you guys. So I appreciate your patience there. And yeah, until next time, I hope to see you same time, same place next week. As always, have a great week and go Pack, go. Have a good night.